Do you kind of like what the weather's turned here this week and what it's looking like for?
Yeah, I was a little surprised when I woke up this morning. A lot of snow on the ground, and yeah, no, it'll be good for our guys to kind of get acclimated. I think it's a little bit warmer than I think it's going to be on Monday night, but you know, the cold is our friend.
Why is that an advantage? Not, we all live in it.
Well,
It sucks. So where's the advantage for you guys?
I think the I don't know if it necessarily is. I think it's a lot about mindset and getting your mind right to go play in. You know, same with when you go down in the South and it's really hot. So I think a lot of it is mindset. Is there some physical effects? Probably. I think the biggest advantage would be that you get an opportunity to practice in the weather that you're potentially playing in.
Matt, what's the biggest challenge of preparing for this Rams offense when there's only one game of Baker Mayfield running it? Like, how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, I think you look at the totality of the scheme. You know, obviously we've played each other quite a bit over the last couple of years, or twice in the last 2 years, and there's a lot of familiarity within the staffs. Of a lot of us have worked together, and so we kind of know what we like. But sometimes you can overthink things as well. So you know, there's a lot of just similarities, whether it's offensively or on defense, just in the schemes, and it's going to come down to who can go out there and execute the best.
Any feel on Dave of whether he can come back at all? I think we all know about high ankle sprains and all that, but we don't know about appendectomies. And
yeah, I'm just learning about that too, Bill. I don't know if this is the first time I've been around a player that has had one of these, at least in the season. So we'll see how he progresses throughout the course of the week. And obviously he's a guy that doesn't need a lot of time on the field to get out there and go play. So if he's capable of doing that, you know, it's probably a long shot, but we'll see.
Matt, what have you thought, though, of how Zach has kind of handled, you know, sort of the swings of the season and the way he's kind of performed in those situations?
Certainly not like a rookie. I mean, he's stepped in there, and, you know, you talk about just not flinching in any moment. He's done that. He's stepped right in, and I feel like for the most part he's played at a pretty high level. So I'm excited about Zach and the flexibility that, again, another guy that can come in and play multiple positions. You can't have enough guys like that.
On defense, an outside linebacker, Enagbari left at the end of the Bears game. Is he going to be okay? And can you talk about Justin Hollins? How much was his time with the Rams? Does that help him in Joe's defense and what he's been able to do for you so far?
Yeah, I think both those guys we're really excited about. Obviously, getting a guy like Justin mid-year, that's a shot in the arm. I think he's done some really nice things, and just obviously adds another playmaker on our defense, a guy that brings more depth. And I do think JJ, he should be good to go, but we'll see how he is out there. We've only had the one practice since the Bears game, so but I didn't notice anything the other day.
And because Hollins came from Rams, how much would that help him with what Joe runs?
Oh, I think it was huge in terms of, you know, the acclimation period. It was definitely shortened by the verbiage, and a lot of that is just you got to learn the terminology. And a lot of it's similar coaching points or whatever it may be, but it's the terminology that to get guys up to speed, and the details. Obviously, there's intricacies that are going to be a little bit different in our offense or defense or special teams that are going to be different from what the Rams do.
Hey, Matt, I think this is going to be the second game you've had your preferred coming out of Camp 5 receivers, I think, in Allen, Randall, Sammy, Romeo, and Christian. I think it was the Bear game in week 2. This is the second time they've gone together. Have you ever given yourself a thought for a second about what could have been if they'd been through, and what are your expectations now with this group for a couple more games?
Yeah, I don't think I lived too much in the past on what could have been. I mean, it's just you know, a waste of my brain power, I'd say. So, but no, I think, you know, you're probably going to see a lot of 0 personnel, 5 wide, We're just going to let it rip.
Maybe you could do that without Aaron Donald, though, which is actually the question, how does our defense change? I'm assuming he's not going to play. Obviously, that's good for you guys if he doesn't.
I'm assuming otherwise.
Okay.
I think a primetime game, I don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but we'd be fools not to prepare for a guy like that. He is a guy that absolutely 100% impacts the game. Generational player, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever play the game. So I think you always have to have a plan for him. How much he plays, if he doesn't play, then you got to have a contingency plan for if he's not in there. And because certainly I think just the challenge going against him over the last couple of years, he definitely takes some plays that you'd like to have in the game plan, and he just it wipes them out because you can't protect, or maybe at the point of attack and some of the runs, he's just that big of a problem. So, yeah, he's a monster to prepare for. You would have thought that with the bye week, with an extra day, that the game planning would have been much smoother yesterday. It still was the same issues if it were any other normal week, in terms of it just creates a lot of conversation, and you got to problem solve, and he's just as good as they get.
You guys have done a pretty good job of getting under his skin, though. I think he tried to choke out Lucas in the playoffs and then Elton in the regular season. Whose turn is it this time, if he does play?
Well, we would never try to coach that in somebody, Matt.
So your bye week, and you don't look back, but you probably did some self-scouting, but you see that tremendous performance by the Rams against the Raiders. You get your guys back a little refreshed. Does that help you put into focus what is ahead of you for these next 4 games in your team?
Yeah, and I think the way we look at it, and you guys, I know it probably, you guys want to puke every time I say it, but it's literally looking at what's right in front of us. And that's coming out today and being the best we can be. But we know that we have to take it one game at a time in order to have a shot. So we're putting everything into today. Today is like a Wednesday for us. And just prepare the best that we can. That's all the things that you can control. You want to do to the best of your ability to give you the best opportunity to go out there and play at your best level on Monday Night Football. Because I do think regardless of who's playing, who's not playing, you talk about these primetime games, they've got a lot of guys that maybe are getting opportunities, and you're going to get their best shot. So you got to get your mind right, and you got to be prepared to play.
2 more, please.
Did you treat this like you would a mid-season look back at everything you've done, or is it just kind of a shorter version of what you do when you evaluate everything you've done?
I think you look at the totality of it, but trying to you're a little bit more focused on what you've maybe done a little bit more lately, because there's just it's a long season. And a lot changes over the course of the year, and so that's just, I think everybody handles that maybe a little bit differently.
Hey Matt, what was your reaction to Aaron Jones, the Man of the Year nominee last week, and then what do you think that says about him to have that back-to-back years to be that guy for this team?
Yeah, he's consistent in every facet. He gives his all to this team every day, on the practice field, on the game field. Every play, whether he's at the point of attack, whether he's got the ball in his hands, whether he's out there, helping a teammate. And I think he lives that same life off the field. I think he gives everything he has to the community. He does so much for so many people. He's just such a positive person to be around on a daily basis, and it makes coming to work and working with guys like that so much more fun. And I cannot speak highly enough about Aaron Jones. Everybody knows about the football player, but I think what's more impressive is, as good as he is as a player, I think he's an even better person.